The entire history of ancient Egypt. August 12, 30 BCE, Alexandria. A woman stands in darkness. Outside, Roman soldiers hammer at bronze doors. Inside, two handmaidens prepare poison. The Queen of Egypt, Cleopatra VII, wraps her arms around a small asp. She's 39 years old, the last pharaoh, the final ruler of a civilization that has endured for 3,000 years. In 18 days, her son will be murdered. In 3,000 years, her name will still be spoken. But in this moment, as venom courses through her veins, a world ends. Not with conquest, not with fire, but with a single breath, released into stillness. 3 millennia, collapsing into one woman's final choice. This is how Egypt died, but how did it begin? 5000 BCE. The Nile Valley. There are no pharaohs yet. No pyramids. No gold. Just farmers. Mud huts along a river that floods every year, leaving behind rich black soil. They call the land Kemet, the Black Land. The desert beyond is Deshret, the Red Land. Death. Life exists only where the Nile allows it. These early settlers don't know they're building the foundation of history. They're just trying to survive. They bury their dead facing west, toward the setting sun. They shape clay pots decorated with geometric patterns. They domesticate wheat and barley. They have no idea that in 3,000 years, tourists will stand before monuments so massive they'll struggle to comprehend them. But something is stirring. Villages are growing into towns. Towns into city-states. Upper Egypt in the south. Lower Egypt in the north. Two kingdoms, separated by hundreds of miles of river. Competition breeds innovation. Innovation breeds power. 3100 BCE. The Unification. A king named Narmer, or perhaps Menes, the records blur, stands with a mace raised above his enemy's head. The Narmer palette, carved in stone, shows him wearing the white crown of Upper Egypt on one side, the red crown of Lower Egypt on the other. One king. Two crowns. One nation. Egypt is born. Memphis rises near the junction of the two kingdoms, a capital built at the fault line of unity. For the first time, the Nile Valley speaks with one voice. Hieroglyphs, sacred carvings, begin to record names, deeds, eternities. The first and second dynasties pass. Rulers come and go. But the bureaucracy grows stronger. Scribes develop systems. Engineers learn to harness the flood. Priests whisper of an afterlife that mirrors this life, only perfected. And then, a man named Imhotep changes everything. 2670 BCE. Saqqara. Pharaoh Djoser wants a tomb. Every king before him was buried under a flat-topped mastaba, a mud brick rectangle. Djoser wants more. His architect, Imhotep, stacks 6 mastabas on top of each other, each smaller than the one below. The Step Pyramid. The world's first large-scale stone monument. It rises from the desert like a stairway to heaven, and that's exactly what it is. A ladder for the king's soul to climb toward the sun god Ra. Death is no longer an ending. It's a journey. Imhotep becomes a legend. 2,000 years later, Egyptians will worship him as a god of medicine and wisdom. But the Step Pyramid is just the beginning. 2580 BCE. Giza. Pharaoh Khufu has a vision. Not a stepped pyramid. A smooth one. Perfect. Eternal. He mobilizes an entire civilization. Over 20 years, skilled workers, not slaves, but paid laborers organized in crews with names like Friends of Khufu, quarry 2.3 million limestone blocks. Each block weighs an average of 2.5 tons. The heaviest granite slabs weigh 80 tons. They drag them from quarries. Float them down the Nile. Haul them up ramps using sledges wetted with water to reduce friction. The precision is inhuman. The base is level to within inches across 13 acres. The sides are aligned almost perfectly to the cardinal directions, north, south, east, west. When finished, the Great Pyramid stands 481 feet tall. Encased in gleaming white Tura limestone, it shines like a beacon across the desert. For nearly 4,000 years, it will remain the tallest structure built by human hands. Khufu's son Khafre builds a second pyramid nearby, along with a massive limestone statue with a lion's body and a king's face, the Sphinx, eternal guardian. Menkaure, Khufu's successor, builds a third, smaller pyramid. This is the Old Kingdom. The Age of Pyramids. The Golden Age when Egypt's power seems limitless, when kings are gods and gods walk among men. But nothing lasts forever. 2181 BCE. The first collapse. The Nile fails. Year after year, the floods are weak. Crops wither. Famine spreads. The central government fractures. Provincial governors, nomarchs, seize power. Egypt splinters into warring factions. The first intermediate period begins. Chaos. Civil war. Brother against brother. For 150 years, Egypt bleeds. Then, around 2055 BCE, a king from Thebes named Imhotep II reunites the land. The Middle Kingdom rises from the ashes. Art flourishes. Trade routes expand east to Punt, north to the Mediterranean, south into Nubia. Senusret III fortifies Egypt's borders and projects power deep into Africa. But history repeats. 1650 BCE. Foreign invasion. The Hyksos, foreign rulers from the Near East, seize control of Lower Egypt. They bring new technology, horse-drawn chariots, composite bows, bronze weapons. Egypt has never faced an enemy like this. The Second Intermediate Period. Another fracture. Another test. For over a century, Egypt is divided. The Hyksos rule from Avaris in the north. Egyptian kings rule from Thebes in the south. Then, around 1550 BCE, a warrior king named Ahmose drives the Hyksos out. Egypt doesn't just survive. It learns. It adapts. It takes the enemy's weapons and makes them its own. The new kingdom begins. And Egypt becomes an empire. 1479 BCE. The warrior queen. Hatshepsut is not supposed to be pharaoh. She's a woman in a world ruled by men. She doesn't care. She crowns herself pharaoh. Wears the false beard. Depicts herself in male clothing. Rules for 22 years. She doesn't conquer with armies. She conquers with trade. Her expedition to Punt brings back ivory, gold, exotic animals, incense. Her mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari is carved into the cliffs, a masterpiece of architecture that looks, even today, as if it grew from the rock itself. But after her death, her stepson Thutmose III tries to erase her from history. He chisels out her cartouches. Topples her statues. He fails. Hatshepsut endures. 1274 BCE. Kadesh. Ramesses II faces the Hittite Empire at Kadesh in Syria. The battle is a near disaster. Ramesses is surrounded, his army divided. By his own account, he fights like a god, cutting through enemy lines. The truth is messier. It's a stalemate. But Ramesses spins it into Egypt's greatest victory. He covers temple walls with the story. He signs the world's first recorded peace treaty with the Hittites. He rules for 67 years. Fathers over 100 children. Builds more monuments than any pharaoh before him, Abu Simbel, the Ramesseum, additions to Karnak and Luxor. He is Egypt's greatest self-promoter. And perhaps its last great king. 1077 BCE. Fracture again. The new kingdom ends. Egypt splits. The third intermediate period begins. The Nubians conquer from the south. The Assyrians invade from the east. The Persians arrive in 525 BCE and rule as foreign kings. Egypt survives, but barely. It's a shadow of its former self. 332 BCE. The Macedonian. Alexander the Great marches into Egypt. The Persians flee. Alexander is welcomed as a liberator. He founds a new capital on the Mediterranean coast, Alexandria. Then he dies. His general, Ptolemy, seizes Egypt. The Ptolemaic dynasty begins. Greek rulers who speak Greek, marry their siblings, and rule from Alexandria, never learning the language of the people they govern. For 3 centuries, they rule. The Library of Alexandria becomes the intellectual center of the world. But Rome is rising. And Rome is hungry. 48 BCE. Caesar and Cleopatra. Julius Caesar pursues his enemy Pompey to Egypt. Pompey is murdered before Caesar arrives. Caesar is outraged, not at the murder, but that he missed the chance to show mercy. He meets Cleopatra, the 21-year-old queen locked in a civil war with her brother. She smuggles herself into his chambers, rolled in a carpet. Caesar backs her. She becomes queen. They have a son, Khazarion. After Caesar's assassination in 44 BCE, Cleopatra allies with Mark Antony, Caesar's former general. Together, they dream of an empire, a fusion of Rome and Egypt, east and west. But Octavian, Caesar's heir, sees them as traitors. 31 BCE. Actium. The fleets meet off the coast of Greece. Antony and Cleopatra's navy is shattered. They retreat to Egypt. Octavian pursues. Antony, believing Cleopatra dead, stabs himself. He dies in her arms. Cleopatra tries to negotiate. Octavian offers nothing. He plans to parade her through Rome in chains. She refuses. August 12, 30 BCE. The ASP bites. The poison spreads. Cleopatra falls. Octavian orders her son Khazarion executed. 2 Caesars, his advisor says, are one too many. Egypt becomes a Roman province. The age of pharaohs ends. 3,000 years. 30 dynasties. Countless lives, dreams, monuments, wars. All of it collapsed into history. Epilogue. Today, the pyramids still stand. The temples still echo with carved prayers. Hieroglyphs still tell stories of kings and gods. Ancient Egypt didn't fade. It endured. In its writing, we found the roots of the alphabet. In its medicine, the foundations of surgery. In its architecture, proof that humans can build forever. Cleopatra was the last pharaoh. But Egypt never truly died. It was buried. Waiting. And every time we unearth a tomb, decipher a scroll, or stand in the shadow of a pyramid, we bring it back to life. Egypt was not a civilization. It was a conversation with eternity. And the conversation continues. End.